So we're here again on Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Monieke McNeil, MPA, Masters in Public Administration, my good friend. And today we have a lot to talk about, Monieke. And our country right now is in turmoil, politically speaking. It's in turmoil, and we have a leader who idolizes dictators from North Korea, China, and worst of them all, Russia. Right. He loves Vladimir Putin. He worships and idolizes this guy. And we see over the past 4 years, the injection of dictatorial ideologies had been implemented into a democracy of our nation. A nation that led this world through democracy for many years. And the integrity of our democracy is undermined. The Constitution is breached. And we see this mannerism explore over and over and over with Donald Trump. Yes. The senators are saying nothing. They allowed him to get away with every single thing. I remember vividly in 2016 when he said, when he was running for elections, he used these words. You know, I give all them money. So when they say come, they have to come. And it leaves me to think or assume that these senators probably are bought. Right. And they can't say no, because what he is doing is definitely wrong. And now he's undermining the integrity of the late Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Right. Right. He didn't even let the nation mourn before he wanted to appoint a judge. And he's looking at a judge who's more on the conservative agenda. Right, completely opposite. Exactly, which may very well be able now to wipe out Roe versus Wade. That means Planned Parenthood is getting strict. That means the institutionalization of racism is going to be even more on the rise. Right. I mean, where are we at this point in time in our lives at this election?
Well, the fact that he's trying to rush and make a conservative Supreme Court completely undermines the checks and balances that we have within our Constitution. It's supposed to be a party-based bipartisanship based on checks and balances.
Well, those are not working. The checks and balances are working.
It's not working at all. It's not working at all. And to pick a nominee who is completely to the other side of what Ruth Ginsburg was and what she stood for. Yes. And such a champion for women's rights and feminism and equality, and it's, I mean, God bless her soul, she hasn't even been put in the ground.
Exactly.
Before.
Correct. She was the voice. She was the voice for women.
She was the voice for women.
She carved the pathway for equality for women. Women to recognize they are no longer servants to men, where they're just there for domestic chores and to give birth to children. That women recognize that they have value within them. They have the right to vote like any other person. They have the right to equal pay like any other person, like any other man. These are the things that he's trying to strip away from women.
Well, I worry about so many things. You know, of course, Roe versus Wade is the first thing that comes to mind that I worry about. But I also worry about the health care. I worry about the Affordable Health Care Act that was put into place and that was deemed unconstitutional to not be able to have affordable health care. I'm concerned about the equal rights and the gay, lesbian, LGBTQ community. I'm worried about, there's so many different aspects that I feel that he's going to try to dismantle by the appointee of
He's in the process of doing that already. Yeah. The healthcare act, I mean, think about it. Right. You are entitled to get insurance despite of your underlying conditions. Right. Right? Right. That you could not be prohibited from getting an insurance. Right. You can get insurance despite your situation. He wants to strip that away. Right. And what is the worst problem is that not only do he want to strip that away, He doesn't have anything to replace it with. He was saying, oh, we're going to bring this beautiful healthcare plan. It's going to be unveiled soon. This thing and the other thing.
He's been saying that
He's been saying that, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing he has to replace it with up to this point.
Oh, there's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. He's
Nothing.
been getting it together for the next 2 weeks for the past 3 years.
But you know what's the worst thing, Monique? You know what's really the worst thing is?
Right.
Is that his followers are believing him. They're not wearing masks, and what he doesn't recognize, he's leading them down a path of self-destruction. They are killing themselves. They are dying out because they are following him, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Clearly he doesn't care. I mean,
So now with all these people dying out, and the Democrats who are obeying instructions and following the law
Right.
are living,
right.
they're the ones that are going to vote.
Well, that's.
So
I mean, this is a compass of who Trump really is. He is, believes in divisiveness and separation, and putting one party against the other. But it basically comes down to, I mean, regardless of party affiliation.
Right.
What about humility? What about the basic principalities that we are all humans and we should care about one another and we should be aware and cognizant that there is a deadly virus on the rise, and that what is the numbers, up to over 700,000 Americans have died?
Yes.
It's mind-boggling to think that this man failed to protect
Over
us.
200,000, 203,000, I think it is, that had passed.
It's just, but that had contracted.
Right,
the
but I
virus.
contracted, yes, over 700,000.
But that all could have been prevented if there was
7 million.
if there was preparedness. If he failed and he lied to the American people. And I just really hope when people go to vote on November 3rd, that they're going to remember that the people who are in place to protect us, such as the healthcare workers and those who are on the front lines, risking their lives,
of course,
didn't have the proper equipment to do so, because he failed to act swiftly and to protect us. And that is the bottom line. I don't care what is the party affiliation. I don't care if you're with the Purple People Eaters. The bottom line is that this man, who is supposed to be our leader, failed to alert us to the dangers that was happening, and knowingly knew that this was happening.
He knew.
And he did not prepare.
And by his own voice, he knew.
Right.
And because of that, we had thousands of people dying that didn't have to die.
Right.
And he said by his own mouth that he'd like to play this thing down.
Yes.
He didn't want to give people the truth from day one.
Yes.
And a result of that, we have over 200,000 deaths now. This is outrageous.
It's outrageous.
It's
absolutely outrageous.
The other thing that I can't understand is the transformation of powers in the event that he loses the election. And I'm quite sure how it looked. There are a lot of red states that flip blue, a lot of blue states that flip red in 2016 is now flipping back blue to Joe Biden.
Right.
Which means there's a clear path that Joe Biden can definitely win this election. But he's not planning to peacefully
Of course
give
not.
up.
He's going to disrupt.
And
He's completely undermining our democracy.
Of course.
Of course. I mean, it stems down to the whole situation with the Postal Service and slowing down the mail.
Right.
And now I believe I was listening on for mail-in ballots. If it's not placed in a proper envelope, then it's not going to be counted. And he's flooding the media with this.
It's nonsense. It's absolutely nonsense. And the worst thing I've recognized through this all is that he is now sowing the seed for a civil war in this country.
Oh, absolutely.
Because when he is keep stating that the elections are rigged and the mail-in ballots is a problem. Now, there's not a problem for his states that he won. It's okay to mail them in, but for the blue states, it's a problem.
Right.
And so far, it had been proven over and over that there's no widespread fraud of mail-in ballots. This was going on for a long time.
Exactly.
But this have to replace the going to the polling stations now because of the coronavirus.
Well, let's bring it back to the fundamental basics of everything. He has not done anything to protect the democracy of our voting system. No. He knows, and he's been made aware by the CIA and the FBI, that Russia is...
Well, he don't.
He
doesn't believe his own administration. He doesn't believe the CIA. He doesn't believe he doesn't believe nothing. Trump is simply there for himself and his family. He doesn't care about United States of America. It's about him and him only.
That's right.
That's the bottom line.
That's right.
And the sooner his Republican base can recognize, it's just a matter of when they all going to fall in a ditch behind him, they should wake up. Because
well, this is where the voters come into place. What about all the constituents? They should be looking at their elected officials and saying, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're allowing this to happen. You're not doing anything. You're sitting back, allowing, twiddling your thumbs, and you're so in a rush to push this new nominee through.
Right.
And you haven't even solidified or agreed on another stimulus package. There's millions of Americans around this country who are starving.
Of course.
They're barely paying their rent. They're barely making ends meet. A lot of them, the unemployment rate is through the roof.
Exactly.
And you can't get together to come to decide on this package.
But the homelessness, many people, and they showed you there on CNN recently, how many people was thrown out of their home simply because they couldn't pay rent.
Right.
I see a mom with her kids crying.
Right.
I see a young man and his father pushing a wheelchair simply because there is no money to pay rent. There is no work. There's no unemployment.
Right.
And Trump is responsible for this.
Yeah.
Had he clipped this in the early, and it's not that he didn't know. He knew every single thing from day one. By his own mouth, he said it.
He knew. Yes.
He knew. And he allowed people to believe that he didn't know anything.
Right. And his excuse is, I didn't want to cause panic. No, you wanted to cause deception, and you wanted to cause fear, and you wanted to cause death is what you caused, essentially.
He is causing panic every day.
Exactly.
Every day.
Exactly.
The riots in the streets, and listen, and I hope America wake up really soon. He have his Republican counterparts who are the beasts, if you want to put it that way, who walks around with guns and want to be playing protective agents and all kind of stuff. They're getting amongst the Democrats who are peacefully protesting, and they are the ones who are carrying out the burning down of buildings and the shooting ups and all. It's them. But because it happened among a Democrat gathering, it appears that this is what, as he will call it in his words, the left wings are doing. They are burning down your cities.
Well, once again, this is what he's like I call him the magician of smoke screens. Because the riots and the protesting that is happening, put party affiliation aside.
Yes.
It does not matter about party affiliation. The point is that innocent black people have been gunned down and killed by the hands of police.
That's right.
Those are the facts. And that is the fundamental issue, how this has all begun.
Right.
So that is the reason why these protests are happening. It has nothing to do with party affiliation.
Exactly. But
it's about you coming forward as a leader, as the president of this country, as the president of the free world, and stating that this is wrong and calling on accountability.
Of course.
But that's a word that this president doesn't understand. He doesn't know that word. Accountability, transparency, leadership. These are all words, government, policy. These are all words that this man has no idea what it means.
Absolutely.
He has no idea what it means.
Absolutely.
Because if you were a true leader, you would call upon accountability and leadership, and you would try to bring about some type of legislative resolve to what's happening. You wouldn't dismiss it. You wouldn't act like it's not there. You wouldn't not admit to it. Like, look what happened to, Jacob Blake. He went to, was it in Minnesota? He went to this man's home state. Never once mentioned the man's name. Never once tried to meet with his family or to try to bring some type of peaceful resolve. Like, I can't change what's happened, but I'm here as your president, and something, anything.
I even want to take a step further. Let's start right here. Let's go right here at Breonna Taylor. Right? Here's a woman in the comfort of her own home. for some whatever warrant they have, they busted open the woman's door, shot the woman to death.
Right.
A black attorney general, Kentucky, want to make it appear as she didn't in existence. Oh, I am black too, and I understand how you feel. No, he don't understand how we feel. Let me state this, and let me state this clear. For many, many years back in Africa, we had black people who sold themselves out to the white man for beads around their neck.
Yep.
And today in the same country and all around the world, we have black people who are selling themselves out for a bunch of keys in their hand. They're selling themselves out for just a little bit of money.
Yep.
They're selling themselves out for power. They're selling themselves out for a name and a title.
Exactly what it is.
And they will kill their own for that title and for that name. And it's a disgrace.
It is.
When we can't see 401 years have passed, and the 1964 Bill of Rights Act is only something on paper, but the modern day lynching, it is not done with a noose around your neck anymore. It is done at the trigger of a gun and shooting innocent black people.
That's right.
It's the same lynching.
Or mass incarceration.
Mass incarceration.
Police brutality.
Police brutality.
Yes.
And they got the institutions there to back them up.
Yeah.
They have the institutions there to protect them. And they get away with it every single time.
Every single time.
And they want to muzzle those innocent ones that are so innocent with a little bit of money. Or we give you X amount of millions and that's over with.
To look the other way.
It's blood money.
It is blood money.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
We as a people in this country should not be living as second-rated citizens.
We're tired.
The black people of this country earn their damn right to live in this country free and first class like anyone else.
That's right.
Their ancestors paid it with their blood. Their ancestors paid it with free economic exploitation of this nation. The wealth of this nation was built
That's right.
on the back of slavery.
That's right.
And all the payment my slave ancestors get were their feet chopped off, they hang on a tree, a gunshot to the brain, a hand chopped off. That's what their payment was. They had no value.
No value at all.
And we got senators that do nothing about it. And I'll state this. I'm not too really impressed with Barack Obama presidency.
Yeah.
He had an Attorney General, Errol Forde, and the question was asked to him, how do you feel if you're black children in this nation with police brutality? And this was his answer. Oh, I tell my kids how to be polite to the police, how to walk the street, how to answer. No white person in this country do that. Why should I be doing that? You are the Attorney General of this damn country.
You're in
If
position.
you got a problem with black brutality, then it's time that you put rules and regulations that state.
Legislative action.
Legislative actions.
That's right.
That if
Yeah.
an unarmed person be shot to death by police, running from or even running to, that police should be prosecuted
Murder.
for first-degree murder.
That's right.
It's simple as that.
That's right.
Why couldn't he put that in power? Why couldn't he make that an act? Rather than giving this cock and bull story about my kids, how I taught my kids to do this, no white person in this country don't have to do it.
And the fact that he could say it so nonchalantly. I have a 9-month-old son, and the thought that I have to think in my the fact that I have to think in my mind that I'm going to have to tell my son
Yes.
that this world is a very dangerous place for anybody, but specifically and especially for you, because you are a black boy who will grow to be a black man in this society, and you will be discriminated against, and you will be racially profiled, and you will be, the fact that I have to even have these thoughts that George Floyd, that could have been my son.
Of course.
That could have been my uncle, that could have been my husband. You know, the fact that this is even more of a reality to me has such a rage inside of me that it caused me even more to legislative action. And this is why I turn to everybody out there listening. Participate, educate yourselves, vote, uplift each other, and strengthen our communities, invest in ourselves, and keep the fire going for change. Don't settle. We don't have to settle. I'm willing to die right now to ensure that my son can live in a world where he will not be gunned down.
Of course.
By the people who are sworn to protect him.
Of course. Of course.
We are tired.
And, you know, and I love to differentiate this most of the times when I go down these conversations. And I said this many times. The everyday white person and the everyday black person, a lot of them are getting along very well.
Yes.
They are racially, they are getting married, they are learning to live with each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In peace and harmony. Yep. But every time you see the stigma of racism, it trickles down or trickles up from law enforcement up to the Senate and so forth. They're not doing nothing. They hope that you march peacefully and they sweep that under the carpet and nothing happens.
Oh, well, it's enough of that.
But I said this. Nature has a way of taking care of itself. There are sometimes firefighters has to fight fire with fire to out a big fire.
That's right.
They have to burn the boundaries in which the fire is going to spread to before it gets there.
That's right.
That's called fighting fire with fire to out a bigger fire.
Right.
And what we're experiencing, all this turmoil with people burning buildings down and people looting and people destroying businesses, it didn't have to come to this. People are fed up and frustrated of the normal way we do things and say, well, look, we're going to take it a little bit further. And this is the only way they're going to take us seriously. And it's bad. It is very sad. It has to come to this. But you can't stop it. Not that you want it to prevail and go on. It is wrong.
Right.
But the reality is that nature has a way of taking care of itself when one thing doesn't work. This is laws of nature.
Well, a reaction always stems from an action.
Of course.
And if we can really take a look at the action, what is causing this reaction, and deal with that, and admit to this systemic racism that is happening within this country. And it's just so disheartening to really sit across from people who are really just oblivious to the fact that this is happening. It's like, this happens in every facet of our lives. You have no idea what it's like to, be denied equal access, equal opportunity, education, housing, jobs, healthcare, all these different things that, and to be so oblivious instead of saying, you know what, this is really real. How can we ever address this issue and change this issue if we cannot even admit to it? Everybody wants to look the other way or, blame it on this or blame it. No, this is why this is happening.
Of course.
We're fed up and we're tired. And it's not even happening just here in America. This is happening around the world.
Yes.
It was so heartwarming to watch on my news station people in all different parts of this country, around this nation, and throughout the world, protesting Black Lives Matter.
Right.
And it was really a bigger defining moment to me that, okay, we have the momentum of the whole world. There has to be legislative action now.
But of course.
There has to be some type of, we have to push those bills through. There's bills sitting on the desk.
And the funny thing is, though,
even
if there are bills sitting on the desk,
we have to push
we have no senator, there's no word. Listen, Black people need, and minorities need a word of confirmation. We're going to stop racism at all levels.
That's right.
It's very well institutionalized. We have to eradicate that.
Right.
It comes out every day with police brutality. And as I said, the problem in the everyday white man or white woman or black man or black woman, they are getting along well in the workplace. I mean, you'll find here and there a little problem, right? Still stigmas and ligaments of racism. But that is coming down. Because when you see the march, you even see more white folks marching for justice than even blacks. Right. And this make a statement. It's time to put the past and bury the past. It's time that America step up and say enough is enough. Black people need to live as first-class citizens in this country.
Be valued.
And be
Our
valued.
lives have value.
Have value.
And that's the point. And it's like everybody's caught up on this Black Lives Matter. and movement, and it's this and it's that, and it's like nobody's saying that that white lives or other lives don't matter, but we're screaming at the top of our lungs that Black lives matter because those are the lives that are being gunned down and taken out in the street on camera.
And what people got to understand here again, in this country, when you're born Black, you're as guilty as your complexion.
Right.
You as a Black person in this country, you always stand guilty.
Right.
We see white folks gun down people in the street, and the police.
Just like the shooter.
Treat them with respect. Treat them with respect. You let a Black man walk down the street, whether gun licensed or unlicensed, with a gun, he'll be attacked by a million cops, and you could guarantee if he get to live, or if that person gets to live, they're lucky. Because they be gunned down. And this is wrong. You got equal rights in this country.
Well, look what it's illustrating. It's saying that we can kill you in the street with millions watching on video. Now you can't even be driving your own car, or you walk away from an officer. I think I saw 2 unjustified killings when the person was actually walking away and he was gunned down. Now you can't even sleep in your own bed, your own home, which is supposed to protect you.
Your domain.
Your own domain.
And there's no protection there.
Enough is enough. And it comes down to the humility. Any person, I don't care if you're Black, white, purple, whatever you are, it's wrong. Just like if we were gunning down gays, it's wrong.
It's wrong.
If we were gunning down somebody who, where's the humanistic saying, oh my God, this is crazy. Something has to be done. This is just absurd.
Well, you know what is funny? And
so it's not black against white, it's right against wrong. And that's what I want people to understand. It's not.
Well, we got a bigger problem here, and this problem had been going dormant for a long time. And I'm a Christian, right? But I want to look at the integrity and examine the integrity of these people who call themselves evangelicals in this country, who are more politically oriented than anyone else. But hiding behind the curtain of heaven, hiding behind the name of God, allowing these things to prevail and not making any impact in our nation.
I thought we were all God's children.
Well, we're supposed to be all God's children.
Okay. I thought I was confused.
You know what? You know, I probably come. You know what? I may not be, man. I'm Black. I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying. They hide behind this religion, and they're so religious, but it's under their own terms.
Well, you know what? I mean, we can assume down to the last few seconds this first show. But we're going to come back. We're going to look at the integrity of evangelicals and Christians in this country, and the crap that they are allowing to go on and hiding behind Jesus' name.
Yes.
We'll be back in a few minutes.